it's Andy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the ADK Rock and Metal channel, and today we're going to be doing a live EP review of what's it called? Scars of War
By Acts of Vengeance.
So we're going to go track by track. Now you won't get to see us do track by track. You'll see little snippets of it because we can't post the video, especially as it hasn't released yet. But we are going to do track by track and give you our thoughts as we get to the end of each one, and then we'll of course then do a final review at the end. So the first one on the album is called Thrones of Eternity.
Is it an EP or an album?
EP.
Yeah, okay.
So, now I already can see this is going to be a bugbear of mine.
Yeah, I've noted that.
It's 47 seconds.
Oh, we've got
It's an intro.
a mood piece, is a polite term. Yeah.
So let's just see what happens. Now, if this naturally segues into track number 2 or track 1 as they've done, you know that's going to trigger me. It's how to enrage me.
Don't.
Okay, I want to know then, if this is the track, if they play that live tonight, I hope they put a stop then. Because if they don't stop at the end of this intro of 47 seconds live, then I'll be like, it's the same fucking song then!
Okay, good start to the EP. Dave's already going to hate this intro track because
you've triggered me, guys. You've triggered me. Right, come on then. Thrones of Eternity. Let's do it. It's an intro.
Dave, you go first. What's the song called?
What does that say there?
Intro runs nearly into opening
Nicely.
track. Oh, nicely into opening
What's the
track.
song called though? What's it called?
Thrones of Eternity, that was the intro.
Dave, breathe. Count to 10.
Okay, so the next track's called Baptized in Blood. So, well, you're saying that you've obviously had a listen to this. So
I have, yes.
So you say this goes naturally into it. So if it does go naturally into it, then just make it as one song. Sorry guys, just do a 4-track EP. It's not a 5-track EP. There's no requirement to it unless they don't play that intro live and they just play it straight from Baptized in Blood, which is the next song, and that's how they play it. So then in that case, I understand it, but then that actually felt like that could have been a song on its own right and expanded. It felt like it was building into an actual song, because normally when you get these big chorded intros...
It builds into Baptized in Blood.
Okay, well I'm not saying any more then, because it's just going to trigger me way too much.
Yeah, but Dave, think back to... perhaps you don't know this album. Pleasure to Kill, Creator. Chorus of the Damned / Ripping Corpse.
Right.
Now, if you was to play that on Spotify, I think that sort of...
When did the album come out?
1985.
1985.
So pre-Spotify, so
Yeah.
fuck that then.
Yeah.
Because you listened to it on a CD player, didn't you? Or
on
on a record player. Which meant you generally, or on a tape, and there was no way on earth you managed to get the tape to fucking, you just played the whole thing, didn't you?
It's track 1, but it's Choir of the Damned / Ripping Corpse. So it's track 1, but it naturally sort of, as your phrase, segues into the song. Although it's like a, sort of keyboarding acoustic intro.
And as a piece,
as
a piece on an album,
yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
But we don't listen to music.
But it is the intro to Ripping Corpse.
So this is the intro to Baptized in Blood.
Yeah, I think so.
So in today's way of listening to music, with the streaming only and doing things like seeing individual tracks, then put it as one track.
I agree.
I don't think you can do it unless
call it Throne of Eternity
Baptized in Blood
/ Baptized in Blood, like
I'd be fine with
back
that,
in the day,
because it makes sense. But don't. No one's listening to albums as whole pieces of work and putting it from track 1 to the end.
I mean, right.
Well, we do for reviews.
No, people are doing. I mean, you can't just say nobody listens to albums.
But it's not the main way. People are putting things on shuffle playlists now more than they're doing anything else. Whereas it used to be they'd listen to albums in full. That would be the more common way of doing it. Now people just put things on shuffle playlists.
Everyone I've grown up with still listens to albums, but that's a generational
That's
thing.
4
isn't it?
people.
That's actually 44 people.
I've got 45.
It is a generational thing.
Well,
So
I might be 46
104
after
friends.
tonight.
We're moving into a discussion topic here.
Yeah.
What do you think of this piece?
Thunderstruck by AC/DC
Okay,
is what it reminded me of, with some droning fifth chords. And it established a bit of a drum beat, and it's obviously, you can tell it's building up to Baptized in Blood.
Yeah, I need to hear Baptized in Blood to understand what was going on here. If it's an intro on its own, then there's a whole song in there that could have easily been written. And if you're saying that it basically feels like Baptized in Blood is a natural progression, then there obviously was, and it's just it's a song that's been cut in half or had the nose of the cheese taken off of it.
I think they'll use this as to go on stage. Guitar player gets to show the flamboyance of his playing. The drummer gets in position, establishes a beat. Bass player is there, stretching, starts fretting, and then they go. He's doing press ups for some reason.
On the light ring.
Yeah, he's not a hardcore man. And then Baptized in Blood. This is where the action begins, I believe.
Okay, let's go to Baptized in Blood.
Let's go to Baptized in Blood.
Okay.
You just do the vocal lines at the end.
Harsh. Very harsh.
Night of the Living Dead.
It's been a long day today. Right, so here we go. Baptized in Blood. Andy, you've actually had a chance to make some notes of this beforehand. So your overall thoughts on this particular song?
Yes, that's because I didn't think we'd be doing sort of
Track by track.
a track by track live review. So I did have a listen.
You did some homework.
I did some homework. Yeah. I mean, I think this is a great track. It's a little long. There's loads of riffs in there. I like the sort of slow mid-tempo sort of chuggy opening. Then it goes a bit quicker. It reminded me of sort of Leprosy era Death at times. I think Marty is a Death fan. I've heard him do a tracking sound check, a Death song. Obviously, Baptized in Blood's off Scream Bloody Gore. But obviously it's not a complete rip off of that, and not a rip off at all of that. But I really like his aggressive vocals first and foremost. But would you call it the chorus, Kirk?
The transition to
the transition.
voice.
The vocal style changes drastically, and I don't think that works for me. It's not. It just doesn't seem to sort of fit the style. And the aggressive vocals, I think, are more his style, and he nails that really, really well. The sort of slower sort of breakdown at the end, I think you guys called it Slayer. I reminded me of sort of the sort of early Creator that I like, rather than sort of more modern version of the band. Really good solos as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a really strong track. I'm pretty sure I've heard it live. It's quite a distinctive sort of chorus line, Baptized in Blood. I remember that from live shows that I've seen before. So yeah, good opening track. And as we discussed with Throne of Eternity, it should have blended all into one to make it even longer, but it probably wouldn't seem as long if it's got that sort of intro that it sort of segues into this first track proper.
Okay, so my thoughts on it. So you talk about the intro of Throne of Eternity going into Baptizing Blood, and it does seem like a very natural progression. So for me, but it doesn't go into you have the intro of Throne of Eternity and then it launches straight into the song. We have another intro in Baptizing Blood, so to me, Throne of Eternity is superfluous. It doesn't have any, because you can't go from an intro track into another intro
with an extended intro.
With another, it doesn't. You see, Sentient did it with their album. They have an intro, but it's an intro track. But on their second song, it kicks straight into the song.
Yeah. Is that the Build Destroy one?
Yeah.
Or Destroy Build?
That one, yeah. The one I was still a bit like intro track, but it makes sense because I've seen them play it live and they use it as the intro and then they launch straight into the track, so it makes complete sense. This one is an intro going into another intro, and it's a long song, so I don't quite understand the purpose of the Throne of Eternity in this. Track as a whole, I'm going to use my classic saying. There's a good 3-minute song in there somewhere. And that is actually being a bit harsh on the band here, because actually you do need it to be more than 3 minutes long, because if it was only 3 minutes you would lose a lot of context within the track. I do think it's too long. 6 minutes 55 seconds for that track is way too long for a thrash metal song, without having any significant slow down sections. Or I mean, you're talking Master of Puppets length song here.
Yeah.
Without a clean breakdown section in the middle or anything like that. So you're asking a lot of the listener to come out and do a 7-minute thrash track. There were some really good riffs in there. You guys talk. What did you say? Leprosy. I kind of heard in that breakdown. I was hearing almost some of the Sepultura type riffs. So there's lots of bands that we kind of talked about. Creators. I said Sepultura, Slayer. Especially when they use the lyric line "Hell awaits," and you're like, "Okay, come on, guys, come on." Stop! You're really wearing your influences on your sleeve at that point. But overall, good track. Like his heavy vocals. I'm not a fan of the clean. It's just I'm not sure, and it's not a case that he's out of tune or anything like that. Because he's not. He's in tune. I just don't think it was a strong, clean vocal line over the sections. We did say that when you're doing the aggressive metal growl vocals, you don't have to have so much fluctuation, so much variance. So when you then go clean and he's doing some variance tail lines, they weren't the strongest vocal lines for me. So not very memorable, or they're memorable but for the wrong reasons. So
probably a bit too busy, that song. I don't think you could justify stretching it to 6 minutes. Musically though, it is the type of thing that I listen to. I love thrash metal. It reminded me of the second wave thrash bands in the Bay Area, Violence and Forbidden.
Yeah.
But there was clearly that two-tonic thrash element, specifically Creator. There were moments where Martin even sounded like Mil Petroza from Creator. Some of those riffs, yeah, Sepultura, Slayer, Exodus, you could hear in there as well. I just got the impression, really, it's like Martin has got 20 riffs and he just decided to put them all into one song. Hold some of them back. I mean, we'll find out on the album.
We've got 3 more to go.
Yeah. I just think it didn't need to be as technical as it was in the end. There's only really one band who could ever pull that off, and that's because they were raging junkies, Megadeth. You know, like we talked about dynamic range in Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
You don't really get any Megadeth songs like that in the first 3 albums. They are just shred metal, riff after riff. Hardly anything's repeated, but it seems to work. With that one, there was repetition in it. It just, I think it was too long for my liking.
Silent was great though.
Oh, fantastic.
Really
I think if that was 4 minutes long, it would have been a lot stronger as a track. But I tell you what, I am looking forward to seeing that live. As a 3-piece, if they can even reproduce 60% of that, they're going to go down a storm at Club 85 in Metal to the Masses.
Just needed the fat trimming on that one.
Yeah, that's it. Just be
Trim the fat.
Be a bit more disciplined.
Okay, Scars of War, title track for the EP. We expect big things, guys. Let's have a listen.
4 minutes 57.
Okay, Scars of War, Andy.
With this one, my initial thoughts, and the title accentuates this, is sort of for victory era bolt thrower. That sort of
Right,
that kind of sort of single note, sort of repeating riff. We talk about what's a riff. Is that a riff?
Yeah.
That sort of kind of it was the intro, the outro, and the chorus. Definitely sort of bolt thrower for me. We talked about the vocals on the previous track. The clean ones in this particular one are even less enjoyable for me than the first track. They sound almost like they've got like a robotic effect on them, and I really wish you'd stick with the aggressive ones all the way through. Or as we said, maybe it just hasn't come through very well in production, and the intention is there, and the talent is there to give it a good clean vocal delivery. Maybe it's just not coming through very well on the recording or the playback from here. But yeah, I mean, it's a strong contender for the title track. We talked about, if you're going to call have a title track on an EP or an album, it's got to be strong, and it's got to be one of the best, if not the best, on the release. And I think this one is a good track. I do prefer Baptized in Blood if you're comparing the two. But yeah, it's a good track. You can hit, like you said, the influences of this band are worn on the sleeves, aren't they?
Yeah, very good.
We've thrown in some bands that everyone knows and loves. Creator, Death, Bolt Thrower now, Creator, So it's quite obvious where the influence come from. But that's not a bad thing. It's not plagiarism. It's not rip off or anything. It's just influences on this band's material.
Okay. For me, musically, we talked about all the kind of classic thrash elements. Nothing sort of setting the world on fire as far as originality, but it's delivered very, very well musically. Really going to be interesting to see how they pull this off live, with the fact that really good technical solo going on there, but there was very clearly a second guitar being played, and it's only a 3-piece, so I don't see how the bass is going to really fill that in and make it still sound as full as it needs to be. Vocally, really I like what he's doing aggressively, clean stuff. It's just not working for me, and what I would say there is it's one of two things that's happening here, which is either there's a lack of conviction in the delivery of that clean vocal line. It makes me think of like when you've written out the lyrics and you kind of have an idea of what the vocal melody is going to be, so what you want to do is you want to lay down, without belting it, you want to hear what you're doing, so you lay down the vocal melody and you sing along and you lay it down, so you've got your markers, you've got your guide ready, so you can come back and redo it. And it's almost like they didn't come back and redo the vocals. That's the vocals they left on, because some parts were fine, and then it'd be it's almost like there's a lack of conviction in trying to get it across. We've used Dave Mustaine wording a couple of times. It's almost like there's a little bit of the snarl of Dave Mustaine, but it's like, stay the man on the line, and it goes back to it really. It says like, if you're going to go for that snarl, you need to continue it all the way through. So there's that element there. There's also the fact it's all single track vocal, so there's no harmonisation or double tracking, which would have given it a bit more fullness. And maybe if the vocals had been double tracked on the clean, that would have actually given you some more depth to the vocals overall. Very long track for what it is. For me, that's a 3 minute 45 second track. Would have been about the right amount of time. I think coming in at like almost 5 minutes again for another song seems excessive for this sort of style. But because it didn't go massively anywhere. I was expecting it to be that kind of cleanish intro as well, being the title track of the album. I was expecting that's where they were going to go with it. So yeah, it's okay track overall. Baptized in Blood's probably my preference over that so far. But Kirk?
I preferred Scars of War to Baptized in Blood. I don't know why we just keep this. No, I do.
Do you want to do your own channel, Kirk?
Yeah.
We can never be judges.
A.D.K.
We can't be judges at Metal to the Masses ever again.
We'll never
get to an agreement on anything.
A.D.K. Rock and Metal Show. So Scars of War.
He'll be at A.D.K.
Yeah, no, don't do that. So we could have. Yeah, they could have lopped 40 seconds off that. I like the intro, the tempo. Mid-tempo, wasn't it? And then it speeded up, real good crunch to that guitar as well. Guess what I'm going to say? I don't mind those snarling vocals that you two find weak.
Clean ones.
I don't even. We don't really use the word clean. It's just there's still a
Yeah,
masculine
it's not
aggression
clean,
there.
no.
Yeah,
It's
there's an aggression.
clean-ish.
It's like what
Compared to
the
the other vocals.
pre-death metal. This is how thrash metal singers used to sing. You know how they'd approach it. They've got this aggressive music. They need something equally malevolent. That's the best they would come up with. Good riffing in there. Again, just probably a bit too much going on for my liking. Let the song breathe a bit more. You probably only need 8 riffs in there rather than 18 for a song that's 4 minutes and 59 seconds. I'd love this live. Give me a beer in my hand, watching a 3-piece, just play these really crunchy thrash riffs. I'll be circling my head and just be holding the one side up. Yeah, so everybody knows how I react.
Everyone knows you.
Yeah.
Okay, right, we've got Empathy next. I reckon this is going to be a slow track. Like almost ballady. It sounds like, from the title, Empathy. It's going to be like picked out.
It's a
Ain't bit fast.
What's the word? Contracted title. It should be Empathy, something. But you'll hear it from the lyrics.
For the devil.
Okay.
Have you heard it?
No.
You're right.
Oh, is that what it's about?
Well, that's the line.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because you got that Van Halen song, Sympathy for the Devil. Is it Rolling Stones?
Rolling Stones, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, Van Halen
Let's
is
do
Rolling
Empathy for the Devil.
3 minutes 51.
Guitar trade off there.
Okay, there we go. Empathy. Andy, what do we have on this one?
Well, it's quite obvious that you know it's something that I picked up on when I reviewed their previous 3-track EP. Each of those songs had a slightly different style with a slightly different vocal delivery as well in the aggressive terms. Anyway, this is like the fastest one of the 3 so far. It's like aggressive thrash, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, you know, quite up tempo, fast thrash. And it's more simplistic. You know, I think there's fewer riffs in there, and it's more, you know, more of a head down thrasher banger song. We can throw another name into the mix from all the ones we've mentioned so far. I think Massacre reminds me of this song, particularly the solo.
Can they? Yeah.
Rick Ross, who in my opinion isn't the best guitarist in the world, and he certainly was out of his depth in Death. You know, we mentioned Leprosy Era. He was featured on that album, and this solo sounds like it was one of his solos from either Leprosy Era Death or Massacre when he was in there. But again, it's you know, for me, we got sort of different sort of almost genres within the same EP. You know, I mentioned Scars of War being like bolt thrower, you know, mid-tempo sort of death metal. You got faster death metal in Baptized in Blood with, you know, various influences from major bands that we all know and love. And then we've got like a all-out thrasher with a bit of Massacre thrown in. So, you know, the influences are there, but the spread across different songs, creating sort of almost songs from different genres, which again is something I picked up on, you know, previously with this band. But I know it's another good track. I mean, if you want variation and not sort of stagnation and the sameness, you know, same stale, repetitive songs throughout an EP, this is the one to go to.
Yeah, I think it's a really good track. They don't hold anything back on this one, do they? Really, it's a real punch to the face.
Yeah.
Ferocity from start to end. Vocal delivery really good on here. Drum playing is phenomenal. Really like what he's doing on their drums. I'm hearing a lot of Sepultura in this particular track. Overall, it's almost like variations of riffs from off the song Slave New World, to be honest, but not so obvious that you would go, that's exactly like that riff. But if you know the song well enough, you can go, oh, I can see where that kind of influence came from. The only thing I would say is with the solo, it felt to me like the first half of the solo, it was almost a classic thrash solo, but it couldn't keep with the pace. It was trying to play a much more melodic pace of the solo, while the drums were still going frenetic. And then eventually, after about sort of 12, 13 seconds of the solo, it kind of matched the pace. So it just probably needed to go with what would be the kind of classic Dave Mustaine soloing of you just hit the ground running, and just fucking just nail into it from the start to finish. Really just shred like a fucker. But Kirk?
Yeah, violent thrash metal, but it's got that bloodlust of the first wave or old school death metal, as we now call it. That Floridian Sound Massacre is a good example of that. I like the tempo of that. Yeah, they just wanted to get straight to the point with this song, and this EP at track number 3 actually needs it. So I think that they've put it in the right place in terms of the listening experience so far. And yeah, we'll use Andy's phrase, just one of those head down, thrash away.
Days.
Just one of those days. Yeah, certainly didn't have any of those grooves in there. Yeah, that's the type of song that you can actually open a set with as well. Or you could end a set with. It's going to get the crowd going.
Or put it in the middle.
Or put it in the middle. Or second one in.
Or even the 4th track.
Okay.
Yeah, no, best song on the EP so far for me. I'm a big fan of that. I'd be good if they released that maybe as a video single.
Okay. So the last track on the EP is Skulls of the Fallen. This feels to me like this is going to be mid-tempo.
It's
marching-y type.
I mean,
7 minute.
This is a 4th style in my opinion. But see what you think.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is like Limp Bizkit.
Well, it's not that.
It's because I unplugged my battery pack.
Can we expect some tech death?
No.
Good.
Right, okay, let's get the next one on.
Skulls.
I love it when the computer just doesn't tell you it's about to fucking just die on you. It's like, your battery's about to die.
Tell me.
Give us a second, sorry.
It's plugged in.
I must have when I was walking over setting up one of the cameras. It's okay. We haven't lost all the stuff we've done today. That would just be too much like last time we did this.
Kicking the balls.
Oh yeah, good save by the
You
way.
did save that well, yeah. ADK presents
Retro style.
Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Suits. Alright, Skulls of the Fallen. Here we go. Let's check this one out.
Skulls of the Fallen. How long was it? 5 minutes.
Okay, that is Skulls of the Fallen! So, thoughts on that one then? Andy?
I've spoken before about the different styles of each song throughout this EP. I think to me this is a different one. I mean, Kirk and Dave said off camera that it's sort of more sort of traditional metal, traditional sort of hard rock. I thought that opening sort of riff was kind of stoner metal, stoner rock. But yeah, it does then transition into sort of more of a sort of heavy metal song rather than the sort of fast and furious thrash of Empathy or you know the other tracks which have had certainly a heavier feel. It's my least favourite if I'm honest, and wasn't too much to take away from it, apart from a slightly negative point that at 4 minutes off, I was thinking, well, there's a natural end to the track.
Yeah.
You know, with the skulls or the far learn, and then we get another riff and a little bit of a solo, I think it was as well, and then the sort of little sort of intricate sort of fade outs, almost again part of a solo. So I think that could have been nicely bookmarked at 4 minutes, and it would have been a little bit more palatable. But overall, I've really enjoyed the EP. You know, there's been different styles, lots to keep you interested in. Again, this sort of showcases the we keep calling them clean vocals, but the non-aggressive vocals that the Martyr delivers throughout the tracks sort of stood out as being, again, not particularly great. But overall, it's a really, really good EP, and I've really enjoyed listening to it.
Okay.
But we'll do the sort of summary again at the end, I think.
Interesting track. You mentioned the phrase Motorhead, or the band Motorhead, and as soon as you said that, I could not hear that. The cleaner style vocals are better on this track than they were on the other ones, but for me overall, what it sounds like is the vocals are just... It's that production piece on the vocals. There's not been enough work to kind of really get them to settle within the rest of the track. It feels too much like a vocal with an effect over the top of it to try to get it to blend. It's just not quite sitting right. I think a bit more time could have been spent working with that clean vocal delivery and recording to get that to sound better with the heavier vocals. Even though there wasn't the heavier vocals really much in this particular song. Again, I think what stands out across this EP is his lead guitar playing. It's probably the strongest, I think, off of this. He's a very, very, very good lead guitarist. Will be really interesting to see how this is performed live, obviously with only one guitarist in the band. It's almost, the song though itself is a little bit schizophrenic. It doesn't know quite what it wants to be. It keeps switching. So there's a whole change up like about 2 minutes something, and it just suddenly went in a completely different direction. Can be interesting to do that in a song. And the next part did work quite well, but I'm not quite sure if as a whole song, that really resonated for me though, doing that sort of change up. But overall, yeah, solid track. Kirk.
It had a traditional heavy metal flamboyance to it. At the beginning, it sounded like Armored Saint, and then it transitioned, didn't it, into a really heavy thrash song. I keep saying it, my type of music. I think I'd prefer this band live. I was saying to you then, Andy, wasn't I, off camera? Local gig, band playing, hey, if you want to do a half an hour set and just play thrash metal riff after thrash metal riff, I'll be there at the front just drinking my beer and thinking, hey, keep me here all night, this is fine. It's a bit different when it comes to a record. Now, I like that. Again, I would say the song before it was the strongest on the record. This is my second favourite. I don't think this is a band that's suited to the 6-7 minute format, and even then they were being excessive at the end with the showmanship. It's like, are we going to end it now? Then the staccato bits come in, and then you get another fill, and then another riff comes in. Just edit yourself a bit. Live you can do that, that's fine, but I think on record it's a bit more difficult to get the listener's attention. Because I'm so used to this type of music, I'll always listen to it. I would not struggle to sit through that EP. After 3 or 4 listens, I probably know 2 of those songs inside out, so they're clearly doing something right. The musicianship levels are excellent. I like the drum production. It sounds like you're in the rehearsal room. There was some really tasty fills there as well, where he's following the guitar scales. And I got the impression Martin put that in for the drummer. It's like, here you go then, right, yeah. Go on, you can actually follow this descending scale run. Overall thoughts on the band: really accomplished musicians. Thrash metal's the best subgenre for me in the entire spectrum, and even though there wasn't that much original in it, it's not going to stop me listening to it. Won't put me off. I could listen to that all day, to be honest.
I wonder if they'd actually shortened all the songs down to like 3.5 minutes or something, would we be going, oh, this is just commercial generic?
No, we're probably thinking, wow, you can compete with Must Kill.
Or would we be also saying, oh, you could have expanded on that a little bit, you could have got a bit longer on it? Or
I think with thrash, if you got 5 songs and they're all like Battery by Metallica, after 3 you'd be like, okay, change it up. If they've had 3 that were just like, what was track number 3 called, sorry, on this EP?
Empathy.
So there's 4 songs, and if they've had 2 like that and then the other 2 bit in longer form, probably would have been more suitable.
Okay, we need to score it. So we score it out of 4 different categories. We've got it, 4 different choices, not categories. So you've either got a bin it, a trade it, a stream it, or a buy it. Over to you, Andy. What's your scores on the doors?
It's a definite buy it for me, and not just because I like supporting local bands. It is a really good EP. I know I've been critical of the sort of the less aggressive vocals, but that doesn't detract from the quality of the songs. You know, there's some variation there, as we've discussed, and there's 4 really good songs with an intro. You know, well, certainly 3. Anyway, so I'm not keen on Skulls of the Fallen, if I'm entirely honest. But the other 3 songs are absolute bangers, and I hope they're included in tonight's live set.
Okay. For me, it is a trade it. I always like to say that I'd like to sort of go out and say, yeah, definitely a local band, stream it, buy it, etc. But for me, honestly, from my personal point of view, I don't see myself listening to this. It's not a bad album, or a bad EP. It's just not something I'm going to listen to, and mainly because of the clean vocal delivery, more than anything else. I'm not a big thrash person anyway. I don't listen to a lot of thrash. I'm more into sort of groove metal sort of stuff. So when thrash comes along, I'll listen to the odd song here or there, and it's really going to have to sort of knock me off my feet for me to go, yeah, I'm going to be into a streaming on that one. So it's very unlikely I'd ever get to the point of even saying buy it. It'd have to be absolutely amazing and knock me off the feet. But unfortunately for me, it's a trade it to someone who really likes this, probably to Andy. Kirk?
I will stream it. I'll quickly give my reasons. I think there was enough variation in there. We picked out Bolt Thrower, Slayer, but even Armoured Saint, Megadeth were a big influence on there. Yeah, originality wise, they're not going to get top marks for that. How many bands are? I think that was just top class thrash metal. They just need to be a bit more disciplined. That's why I wouldn't buy it. But I could listen to it. To be honest, it wouldn't be a problem whatsoever. I would stream something like this. I could see myself, having it on in the background while I'm writing a review.
Okay. So on the merit of the balance of our 3 scores, Acts of Vengeance gets a stream it recommendation from the channel. So go out when it comes out and make sure you stream this album. And if you really like it, then go and buy it. I think it's the final say on that one. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on a video sometime very soon. Take care.